Hey guys, who wants some ribs? Oh, that joke a little too crippling. Oh well, on with the show! Welcome back to Creature Scavengers and Crafting. Today guys, I'm going to do a little bit of a different video. I'm going to paint this miniature. It is a 80mm miniature by Thunderchild Miniatures. Said a lot of miniatures in that phrase, didn't I? Anyways guys, this is for the Wasteman game. A really great post-apocalyptic skirmish game that I just really enjoy. This is a picture of it painted from their website. As you can see, it has a horrific glory to it. Guys, their store is currently down, but I will put a link to their Facebook site so you can get further details on it. So let's get started. First of all, we're going to go ahead and just get together a couple of brushes. This is a big brush for like washes. This is more for a dry brush. We've got a couple of other detail brushes here. I always advise if you get a small brush, put that safety cap on them. That's going to keep the tip really protected. And also I'm going to use an airbrush gun today, so if you don't have that, don't worry. You also want a palette and you'll want some clean water to use. Guys, make sure that you're changing out your water. It can get funky sometimes. So the first thing I'm going to do is, after I've cleaned this and primed it, I'm going to apply a light coat of green. I'm going to use my airbrush to do this. Now guys, if you don't have an airbrush, again, you can thin your paints and just apply this with a brush. What I'm using here is a green airbrush paint, and I'm also mixing it with an acrylic thinner. If you don't have acrylic thinner, that's fine. You can also thin it using some water. Whatever works perfectly for you. Notice I'm just going over this very lightly. You can test this with the napkin that I have below just to see how your spray is. You don't want to gob this up. You don't want runs in the paint when you're doing this process. And here's our model once we've applied the green paint to it. What I did is apply 2 thin coats to it. When you're applying the first coat, allow that to dry and then go back over it with another thin coat. That always gives me the best results. Next, I'm going to start doing some paint transitions, and first I'm going to use this raw sienna. What I'm going to be focusing on is the base of the model, where the dirt mound is, and I'm also going to be focusing on the underbelly. Now we're going to be very light with this. As you can see, I'm kind of keeping the airbrush away from the model, just kind of adding it. That way I can kind of gauge how much paint I want in a certain area. Also, we want to try to limit our overspray into the green on the side and on the back, because we're going to do another color transition there. Now we're going to do another color transition, and for this I'm going to use a desert turquoise. Really cool, interesting color. We're also going to lightly spray the top of the model with this color. You can notice that my air gun is out of the picture frame. That's by design. All I'm doing is kind of lightly misting it over. As I see areas that I want to apply more paint, I'll just kind of adjust the gun to hit that area. That also prevents me from doing a lot of overspray or having any type of streaks or runs in the paint. Alright guys, once our airbrush paints have dried, I'm going to start adding some base colors to like the feet, the horns, and the eyes. To do this, I'm going to use a Canadian flesh tone, of course, for the arms. I'm going to use a vintage white for those horns, and I'm going to add black to the eyes, and this is just going to add like overshadowing. The eyes won't be black. We will go over those, but it'll add some depth to them. Next up, we're going to start applying some washes, and for my first wash I'm going to use a green shade. Now what I'm going to do is thin this out a little bit using an acrylic thinner. You can use water if you don't have the acrylic thinner. We're just going to start applying this on the top here where we had the desert turquoise. We're going to stay away from that green portion around the eyes. We'll probably come back and add an Agreste Earth shade, or maybe a Leonell, that's a black wash, for the dirt and the underbelly. We want just kind of some really nice contrast. That's why we're hitting the top here, and you'll see all the scales are starting to pop with this. When it dries, it's going to look really awesome, and we'd even go back and do a little detailing here. Once our washes are dried, we're going to go ahead and start adding some white to the eyes here. Remember, originally I'd used black. Now I'm going to go over it with some light shades of white. I'm going to start adding the pupils to this Terrapilla. To add the pupils, I'm just going to use a small detail brush. This is one that's kind of important to protect the tips of the brush. Remember, if you take care of your brushes, they're going to take care of you when you're painting your miniatures. At this stage, what we're going to do is start adding some highlights. Here I'm going to go back over with a vintage white on the horns and just kind of make them pop a little bit. I'm also going to probably add some more of that flesh tone to the arms and to the legs sticking out of the mouth. Notice I've already picked out the teeth using a white as well. We may even go back and add some desert turquoise just to the top of the head, making sure those scales pop out real nice. Now, for a very important step, before we go any further, before we apply any technical paint or any pigments, we're going to hit this with 2 coats of Tetradermal coat. That's a clear finish. It's going to protect the paint that you've done so far, and we're going to move on with our technical pigments next. The first technical paint I'm going to use is a Blood for the Blood God. This is by Citadel Paints. Really good stuff. You can make your own blood effects if you want. This is just simple for me. I don't have to mix it up. What we're going to do is use a small detail brush. I'm going to start to put this in between the mouth. I want to kind of go around the gums. We want to make this guy look like he's been chomping on somebody. Also, we're going to add some art coat. This is very shiny gloss. We're going to put that on the eyes just to catch the light. So now for our last steps, we're going to apply a quick dry brush just down here at the bottom. I've got my dry brush here. We're going to use a Territorial Beige. We're just going to add a little bit to the brush, wipe off the excess onto a napkin, lightly go over that dirt. It's okay if you get a little of the dry brush onto the creature. And once we're done with this, we're going to move on to our pigments. For the pigments, I have a burnt umber and a natural sienna. And we're just going to start applying those quite liberally. You can get some stuff to make this stick down. I just apply it in very light coats and it comes out looking really well. And guys, that's about it. You can go further with your painting if you want to. This is a very quick and easy job. Let's go ahead and see how this looks on the table.
I am Gar, speaker of the three-faced tribe. For many moons my tribe has ventured across the great open. A foul spirit hunts our tribe, picking off the slow and weak. By darkness our warriors lie in wait to ambush the spirit. As light comes, we will find our warriors taken. We must reach the glowing mountain before the spirit devours our tribe. The great spirit is hungry and will come very soon.
Hey guys, that concludes our video for today. I hope that you're enjoying the content. If you are, hit that big thumbs up button. If you haven't already, maybe subscribe. More importantly, share this with someone that might like this type of craft. Big shout out to my friend Rob. He's doing the voice work at We Are One, You Are Two. Again, I'm going to leave his information down in the comments. The music that was done for the ending video is Carl Casey at Whitebat Audio. I'll also leave his information. Really exceptional work. I plan on using more of his audio in the future. Guys, as always, please be safe. Look forward to more videos providing you that entertainment that you've been looking for. Take care, guys. Bye.